Someone cut you off in traffic this morning. For half a second, before your conscious mind caught up, something in you wanted to do far more than honk. Your jaw tightened, your hands gripped. A voice older than language whispered that this was a threat, and that threats must be answered. You probably feel a little ashamed of that. You shouldn't. That whisper kept your ancestors alive for 2 million years. Here's the thing nobody tells you. You are not violent because you are broken. You are violent because, for almost the entire span of human existence, the people who reacted instantly to a perceived threat left more descendants than the people who paused to think it over. You are running ancient software on modern hardware, and that software has one setting it loves more than any other: a switch. A switch that turns a calm person into someone who would risk everything over a parking space, a comment, a flag, a look. Today I want to show you exactly what that switch is, where it came from, and why a stranger on the internet can make your heart pound, the same way a leopard once did. I'm going to walk you through 5 specific things. First, the real reason your brain treats a rude email like a physical attack, and the 2-second delay that decides whether you act on it. Second, the prehistoric math of status, and why losing face once meant losing your life. Third, why men between 15 and 30 commit the overwhelming majority of violence in every society on Earth, and what that number reveals about our past. Fourth, how the exact same circuitry that helped a band of 40 people survive now powers road rage, comment section wars, and sports riots. And fifth, the one feature of this old wiring that modern life exploits on purpose every single day to keep you angry. Stay with me, because the last one changes how you'll read your own phone. This channel takes the things you live with right now and traces them back to a deep-time survival glitch you never knew you inherited. Violence is the oldest glitch of all. Let's go find where it's switched on. Start with a small, embarrassing fact. The part of your brain that fires first when you feel threatened is not the part that thinks. It's a pair of almond-shaped clusters deep in the skull called the amygdala. The amygdala is fast, brutally fast. It can register a threat and trigger your heart rate, your adrenaline, your clenched muscles in roughly 12 thousandths of a second. The thinking part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex behind your forehead, is slow by comparison. It needs hundreds of milliseconds, sometimes a full second or two, to catch up and ask whether the threat is real. That gap is everything. In that gap, you are not a modern person. You are a primate on the savannah, and your body has already decided to fight before your mind has decided anything at all. Now picture why that gap exists. Imagine you are one of our ancestors, 200,000 years ago, walking through tall grass. A shape moves. Your slow, reasonable brain wants to gather evidence. Is it wind? Is it a predator? The fast brain doesn't wait. It floods you with fight or flight before the question is even asked. Most of the time, it's the wind, and you feel silly. But the one time it's a lion, the person who paused to reason is dead, and the person who reacted is the one who survived to become your great-great-grandparent. Over enough generations, this is not a coincidence. It is a filter. The descendants of the over-reactors inherited the Earth. We are those descendants. Every one of us is the end of an unbroken chain of people whose threat alarms went off too easily, rather than not easily enough. Hold that thought, because it explains the parking space. But it doesn't yet explain the comment section. For that, we need to talk about something stranger than predators. We need to talk about each other. Here is the second piece, and it's the one most people miss. For our ancestors, the deadliest predator was rarely an animal. It was another human. Anthropologists who study the few remaining hunter-gatherer societies and who dig up the bones of the ones long gone keep finding the same uncomfortable thing. A startling share of prehistoric skeletons show injuries from other people. Crushed skulls, embedded points, defensive fractures on the forearms, the kind you get when you raise your hands against a blow. By some estimates from archaeologists' studies of ancient remains, violence between humans may have accounted for a large fraction of deaths among adult men in some prehistoric populations. The exact figure is debated, but the pattern is not. We have always been dangerous to each other. And in that world, your reputation was not vanity, it was armor. Picture a band of maybe 40 people. No police, no courts, no laws written anywhere. The only thing protecting you from being robbed, displaced, or killed was the certainty in everyone else's mind that if they crossed you, you would respond. Costly, hard, without hesitation. So consider the man who lets an insult slide, who is publicly humiliated and does nothing. In our world, we call that maturity. In that world, it was a death sentence on a slow timer. He had just announced to every rival that he could be pushed, and pushing would soon escalate to taking. Status was not ego. Status was survival math. The respect you commanded was directly proportional to how safe you and your children were. This is why losing face still feels like losing something physical. Why a public insult lights up the same brain regions as a public injury. Your old wiring cannot tell the difference because for most of human history, there was no difference. Disrespect was the opening move of a sequence that ended in violence, and the body that learned to treat it as an emergency was the body that lived. Now you can feel the two threads starting to twist together. A fast alarm that fires before thought. A reputation system that treats insult as mortal danger. Put them in a primate band and they're a survival kit. Put them in a person scrolling a phone at midnight and you get something else entirely. Before we get there, the third piece, and it's a number that will not let go of you once you've seen it. In every society that has ever been measured, across every continent, every culture, every century with records, the same demographic commits the overwhelming majority of physical violence. Young men, specifically males between roughly 15 and 30. This holds in cities and villages, in war and peace, in rich nations and poor ones. The criminologists who first documented this called it one of the most reliable patterns in all of social science. It is so consistent, it almost stops looking like a choice and starts looking like a setting. And from a deep time view, that's exactly what it is. Run the ancestral math again. A young man with no status, no resources, and no mate had, in evolutionary terms, almost nothing to lose and everything to gain by taking risks. Competing, fighting, climbing. An older man with a partner, children, and a position to protect had everything to lose. So the wiring tuned itself accordingly. Maximum aggression, maximum risk-taking, dialed in precisely during the years when, for our ancestors, the entire reproductive future was decided. The terrifying elegance of it is that none of this is conscious. A 19-year-old picking a fight outside a bar is not calculating his reproductive prospects. He just feels something, a pull, a heat, a certainty that he cannot back down. That feeling is 2 million years of selection pressure compressed into a single bad decision on a Saturday night. The switch isn't reasoning with him, it's just on. So we have the full mechanism now, a lightning-fast threat alarm, a reputation system that codes insult as deadly, and a risk dial cranked highest in young men with the least to lose. For 99% of human history, this kit worked. It protected bands, deterred rivals, won mates, kept children alive. And then, in a blink of evolutionary time, the world it was built for vanished. The band of 40 became a city of millions. The rival across the clearing became a username you'll never meet. The leopard became a notification. The hardware never updated. And that is where it all goes wrong. This is the part I promised you, the same circuitry in the modern world, with the safety removed. Take road rage, the purest example. A car cuts you off. There is no predator, no insult to your standing in any band that matters, no real threat to your life. But your amygdala does not know it's the 21st century. It registers a sudden incursion into your space by an unknown agent, and it fires the exact ancient sequence. Heart rate up, adrenaline up, muscles primed. And critically, you are sealed inside a metal box, anonymous, surrounded by strangers you will never see again. Every break the band used to have on you is gone. No reputation to maintain with these people, no relationship to preserve, just the raw switch with nothing left to override it. Now the comment section, which is worse because it's engineered. When a stranger insults you online, your old reputation alarm fires as if you've been challenged in front of your whole tribe. The body floods, the face heats. And here is the cruel mismatch. In the ancestral world, a status threat in front of 40 people demanded a response because those 40 people were your entire world, and their opinion of you was your safety. Online, the people watching are not your tribe. They are strangers, often thousands of them, and your brain cannot tell the difference. It treats every public disagreement like a survival event in front of everyone you've ever known. So you type the reply. Your hands are shaking slightly over a person who does not exist to you in any way that should matter. The switch can't tell. And the sports riot, the political mob, the flag and the chant. This is the coalition instinct, the deepest layer of all. For our ancestors, the line between your group and the other group was the line between safe and dead. Belonging to a strong coalition was life insurance. So we inherited a hair-trigger sense of us and them, a willingness to feel real loyalty and real rage toward people we've never met, simply because they wear the same colors or the wrong ones. A modern person would genuinely risk arrest, injury, their job over a team, a party, a tribe of strangers. Not because they're stupid, because the coalition switch is 2 million years old, and it does not know the stadium is just a game. Which brings me to the fifth thing, the one that changes how you'll read your phone tonight. All of this old wiring has one exploitable feature. Threat and outrage capture your attention more powerfully than almost anything else, because for our ancestors, ignoring a threat was fatal, and ignoring good news rarely was. Your brain is built to lock on to danger and grievance, and the modern systems competing for your eyes have figured this out completely. The feeds you scroll, the headlines you click, the channels that grow fastest, almost all of them have learned the same lesson. Anger holds attention, outrage spreads, fear keeps you watching. They are not making you angry by accident. The content that triggers your ancient threat and status alarm is the content that wins. So that is the content that floods toward you. Every day, systems with no malice at all, just cold optimization, are reaching into the oldest part of your brain and pressing the switch. Over and over. Because a pressed switch is an engaged user. So the question we opened with has an answer. Why are we so violent? Not because we're evil. Because we are running a survival program written for a world of 40-person bands and constant mortal danger. In a world of cities and screens and strangers, it was never designed to face. The switch that once saved your ancestors now fires at parking spaces and usernames and the wrong colored jersey. But here's the part that matters, and it's the gap we started with, the 12 milliseconds versus the full second. The switch will fire. You can't stop that. It's older than you. But between the alarm and the action, there is a sliver of time where the slow brain, the part that knows it's the 21st century, can catch up. That pause is the one thing the savannah never gave your ancestors the luxury to use, because for them, hesitation was death. For you, it's freedom. The next time your jaw tightens over something that cannot actually hurt you, that's the switch. And now you know its name. If this changed how you see your own anger, subscribe and stick around. We take the instincts you live with every day and trace them back to where they switched on. I'll see you in the next one.